Um, Hello, my name's Sergio Hinojosa. I just want to thank everybody for the invite. Thank everyone in this room. Albert Pooley, recognize him. Also, Mike Duncan, want to recognize them real quick off top. Um, I'm Sergio. I'm 34 years old. I currently live in Sacramento. I am a father of three. Oldest is 10. She's a girl. And two boys, the youngest, 3 and 1 years old. So I'm a proud father and a husband. So a little bit about me is that I come from Sacramento, California, and out there, I would say it's not the. It's a very beautiful city and a very good place to live. Off top, but where I grew up in North Sacramento and Del Paso Heights area wasn't all that pretty. Um, it wasn't all that pretty as far as wasn't a lot of things around for us. It's a lot of resources and stuff. Yeah, there was football. There's things that you can do to occupy yourself. Which I've tried all those things. By the way, I did play football. I was very much into sports. Wasn't really a bad seed, but just the wrong crowds. The wrong crowds, the wrong people. I lived in a neighborhood that was tough, very tough. I had to stick up, for myself. Had to stick up for my younger brother, my older brother. Same thing. We all kind of ran in the same kind of group, very tight as a family, and had other people there to support me. I would say it's the wrong crowd of people to support me. So that was what we had to look up to. We had a lot of drug dealings, a lot of gang members, a lot of just a whole lot of bad stuff, in my neighborhood, growing up. There's a lot of great in my neighborhood. I love my neighborhood. Very proud of where I come from. But it was just didn't have that, person to look up to. I have my father and my mother are still together, so I'm thankful for that. But it's just, I think it was kind of touch up on what he was saying. Is just a lack of love. It's lack of love. A lot of not a lot of hugs in my family, like he said, and I relate with that, because it wasn't. And I also relate when how you said the other family member, how you seen them coming in the room, because on my wife's side, they're always I love you, I love you, I love you. I said, why you guys always say I love you before you hang up the phone? They're just talking. They're right down the street, and I can relate with that, and I get that from her side, and I would admire that, and I would see that, and just be like, wow. And she just seen her cousin just 5 minutes ago. I love you. They don't hang up the phone without saying I love you. Um, a lot of that, was missing. So yeah, where I grew up, there wasn't a lot of that. My role models were different. My role models were gang members, were drug dealers. Not trying to glorify this life at all, but it just was a part of where I grew up at, my surroundings. So I was looking for different things, and as I grew up, I went through all of that. I've been stabbed. I've been close to dying. I've been through I've been imprisoned. Um, I've pretty much, I guess, ran the gauntlet. Been dragged through the mud, been beat up. Just been beat down by every obstacle that I could imagine. That was thinking there's nothing for me out here. There's nothing. I'm done. I have nothing left. You know, um, which came about to when I had my first child. She's 10. When I had her, it was life changing. I had to look after someone, so I had to look after another life. It was life changing. It made me look at life in a different perspective. So I admit I did stop using drugs. Um, I did stop a lot of the bad things just because of her. Because I knew I had a child. Um, Not to say that after I had her, I did fall back into some of these bad habits that I picked up over 34 years, of learning these things. And it's hard when you learn so much bad and you learn so much of this terrible way of living, to undo these things sometimes. So yeah, I did fall back. I did get imprisoned again. I don't want to use the word hate, but just to think how my daughter, she was very young, but had to experience some of these things that I went through. When I had her, I said I would not. This would not be my kid's life. This will not be the children that I do have. This is not going to be their life. So I kind of, I'm very heartfelt of that, and I kind of relive that sometimes. But to go on to finally, after a while, I had my two boys. It's 3 and 1 years old. But I found fatherhood is sacred. I found people that were actually from my hood, like Albert Titman and different people in my community that were tugging on my shirt saying, hey, you check out those guys yet? You go over there, especially Albert. I mean, I owe that to him because he would see me down at the health center, which my wife is part native. She's part Filipino and Mexican. So we would go down there for our children, for our family. Finally, I went and seen what it was. It took me months because I kept ignoring it. I didn't want to see what was going on. I didn't want, I was still kind of rough around the edges or whatever. So I went down there and I found fatherhood is sacred. And ever since then, I've been doing the work. I've been pretty much doing all the work and all the things that, I wasn't doing for 34 years, for 32 years. It's been 2.5 years that I've been there now. So we do a ton of work in Sacramento, California, community work, free. Give back, because for years I took from our community. So I was a big contributor to that. So it's all positive now. My kids are not having to go through all of that. I do tell them I love them. They're always down there with us. And fatherhood, like he said, we have our whole families down there at the health center. They do look forward every Thursday coming to something. I do hug them. I do give them love. I do provide some of the best education that we can give them, which starts in the home. I have a shirt they made us. I forgot to bring it up here. My kids made me, where it says a father is a son's first hero, and a daughter's first love. And they actually made that for me in their room. They made it all top secret. I knew what was going on. I knew there was something going on, and they looked like little ninjas running around the house and stuff. My youngest, 1 year old, of course, he probably just drooled all over the whole project, but they made that for me, and it's true. The saying, a father is a son's first hero, and I get that, and a daughter's first love, because that's where it starts, so doing the work and putting in the work. I'm very, very proud to be here and to be where I'm at today, for our next generation and generations to come, for my family, for my friends, for people that look up to me, for my community, because as fathers, we're under this big spotlight, and the more that we know that and understand that this big, huge spotlight is on us, and we need to carry ourselves in a good way. We need to be a good, positive, role model to our children, as well as to the people in our community. So that's the path that I'm on today, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. I love my life now, so thank you guys. I just wanted to wrap that up. I don't know if I'm out of time. I still didn't get there.
Thank you, Sergio. Next is Maria.
Buenos